Have you ever wondered who you can truly rely on as you age? In our youth, we often lean heavily on friends, family, and loved ones. But as time passes, those relationships can shift, and sometimes we find ourselves standing alone. This video explores the vital importance of self-reliance and the unique roles that our spouses and children play in our later years. We'll delve into the idea that confidence in oneself is crucial as we enter old age. After all, the only person we can consistently depend on is ourselves. Leaning too much on others can lead to disappointment, echoing the wisdom of the old saying, "Lean on the mountain will fall. Lean on people, people will leave." As we navigate the storms of life, we must learn to stand firm on our own. You'll hear inspiring stories, like that of a devoted husband who learned to play the piano for his ailing wife, demonstrating that love is not just about passion but about commitment and understanding. We will also discuss the balance of support from children, reminding you that while they are a great blessing, they are not the sole source of our happiness. As you watch this video, you'll gain insights on how to nurture your independence, build deep connections with your spouse, and foster healthy relationships with your children without creating undue dependence. These lessons will empower you to cultivate a fulfilling and peaceful life in your later years. So, stick around until the end to discover how to embrace your independence and the beauty of self-sufficiency, ensuring that your golden years are filled with joy and contentment. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. As we grow older, one truth becomes increasingly clear. Confidence in oneself is the most precious gift we can give ourselves. When the years start to wear on us, when our bodies slow down and our circles of connection narrow, the most dependable person in our lives is ourselves. This realization, though simple, carries profound weight. In our youth, the world seems full and unending, and we are surrounded by friends, family, and acquaintances, all of whom fill our days with warmth, laughter, and companionship. There's a comfort in those bonds, a feeling of security that wraps around us like a favorite blanket. But time, in its relentless nature, changes everything. People drift apart, priorities shift, and not everyone we cherish will walk with us until the end. We come to understand that the safety net of companionship, woven together by our connections, is not as permanent as we once believed. This journey of realizing our inner strength is often mirrored in an ancient saying that speaks to the heart of self-reliance. Lean on the mountain, and the mountain may fall. Lean on people, and people may leave. These words are a reminder that no matter how deeply we care for others, or how close we feel to them, relying too heavily on anyone else can lead to inevitable disappointment. Life is unpredictable. Even the closest relationships can change, leaving us feeling alone if we haven't learned to find strength within ourselves. True independence and resilience come from within, from an inner well of confidence that no external relationship can ever fully replace. To walk through life with this understanding is to move with a kind of grace, to face life's uncertainties with the quiet assurance that, no matter what, we will endure. There's an old story that brings this idea into sharp focus, illustrating the power of self-reliance. Once, a man, struggling under the weight of many hardships, went to a temple seeking solace. He prayed fervently to Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, the goddess of mercy, pleading for her intervention to help him overcome his troubles. Yet, when he entered the inner sanctum, he was shocked to see that Kuan Yin herself was deep in prayer. Confused, the man asked why such a powerful deity would need to pray. Kuan Yin responded softly, "Even I have my burdens to carry." The most important lesson is not to wait for help from others, but to find strength in oneself. This unexpected revelation humbled the man, reminding him that everyone, even those we admire or look up to, carries hidden struggles. We are all, in our own way, travelers on this road of life, navigating challenges and seeking peace. To rely solely on others is to risk losing sight of our resilience, our ability to rise from within. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In our later years, it is only natural to long for the care and attention of our children and loved ones. We hope that they will be there to support us, to bring comfort and a sense of purpose. However, if we place too much expectation on their care, we risk confining ourselves to a cage of dependency, becoming prisoners of our longing for attention and support. There's a fine line between desiring love and becoming overly reliant on it. Independence in old age does not mean turning away from those we love. Rather, it is about cultivating a strength within ourselves that allows us to face the world with dignity, regardless of who may or may not be by our side. When we know how to care for our well-being, make our own decisions, and shape our own lives, we free ourselves from the chains of dependency. We can live with confidence, drawing strength from our resilience and enjoying the peace that comes from being able to stand on our own, even in our final years. Amidst the solitude of self-reliance, however, there remains one companion who often walks with us until the very end, our spouse. In this life, we encounter many relationships with family, friends, colleagues, and acquaintances. Yet, as the years pass, it is often our spouse who stays by our side, and who knows us in ways no one else does. When we are young, love is often filled with fire and intensity, marked by the excitement and passion of newfound romance. We find ourselves driven by longing, by the thrill of partnership, and sometimes by a need to possess or be possessed. Love in youth is beautiful in its way, but it is often more about self-discovery and fulfillment than true companionship. As we grow older, however, love transforms. The spark of youthful romance matures into a profound and enduring bond, a connection that transcends mere passion and becomes a source of stability, trust, and mutual understanding. In our twilight years, love with a spouse is less about what we take from one another and more about what we give. It becomes a steady rhythm of care, a deep well of patience, and a commitment to weather life's trials together. The spouse who remains with us is more than a partner. They are a witness to our journey, sharing in our joys and our sorrows, our successes and our failures. Together, we form a shared legacy, built from years of memories, shared struggles, and quiet triumphs. In the end, this companionship becomes a quiet source of comfort, a reminder that, even as everything else falls away, there is one person who truly knows us, and who has walked beside us through it all. In these later years, we see that the nature of love has changed from a burning flame to a comforting glow, a light that sustains us through life's darker moments. The presence of a spouse in old age is like a gentle anchor, providing balance and steadiness in a world that can often feel overwhelming. This bond, tested by time and fortified by shared experiences, offers a unique sense of security and warmth. We no longer need to prove ourselves to one another. Instead, we cherish the quiet presence of a person who understands us, sees us fully, and accepts us as we are. Through this companionship, we are reminded of the beauty of shared resilience, the strength that comes not from standing alone, but from leaning on one another in ways that honor our individuality while embracing our togetherness. As we move further into the later stages of life, we come to appreciate the wisdom in balancing independence with companionship and self-reliance with the comfort of shared lives. To embrace old age is to recognize that we are enough and that our strength, built over a lifetime, is our greatest ally. We find peace in knowing that, while we may walk this path alone in many ways, we have also built bonds that will support us through life's final chapters. The journey may be solitary at times, yet it is also profoundly enriched by the love and understanding of those who have chosen to walk beside us. In a world where fleeting romance often overshadows the deeper commitments of love, there shines a story about devotion, responsibility, and the boundless depth of the human heart. It is a story of a married couple whose bond was tested by the heavy hand of fate, and rather than faltering, their love blossomed into something beautiful, something that transcends the ordinary understanding of marriage. This is the tale of a husband and wife, joined by love but bound even more tightly by a profound sense of duty and compassion that few are privileged to witness in this lifetime. Their journey took a painful turn when the wife was diagnosed with angioedema, a rare and unforgiving illness that gradually eroded her memory, stealing away fragments of her life and sense of self with each passing day. What began as small forgetful moments soon spiraled into a relentless progression, leaving her lost in a haze of confusion. For anyone, this would be a harrowing ordeal, but for her husband, it was the beginning of a deeply personal mission, a chance to express the depth of his love in a way that defied words. Where others might have turned to external help, her husband made a decision that would forever define the nature of his love and commitment. He chose to walk this path with her, to be her unwavering rock, her silent protector, her companion through the fog. He refused to let her drift into darkness alone. In an act of love that was both tender and heroic, he embarked on a journey of self-learning, deciding to teach himself the piano, a skill he hoped would bridge the gap between her fading mind and his enduring love. He believed that music might offer a doorway back to her, even if just for a moment, a gentle melody to soothe her troubled mind and ease her restless heart. Every morning, with an unshakable resolve, he would sit by her side, his fingers hovering over the piano keys. As he pressed each note, carefully and deliberately, he poured his soul into the music, hoping that the familiar sounds might bring her some sense of peace. Each melody was a labor of love, crafted with patience, resilience, and a profound sense of devotion. He became, in essence, the composer of their memories, using each key to paint moments they had shared, to revive their laughter, their whispered dreams, their quiet afternoons filled with love. In these moments, he reminded her that she was never alone. This was no grand sweeping romance like those in novels. Theirs was a quiet love, steady and unyielding, built on years of shared experiences and a commitment that held firm in the face of life's storms. Over time, their love took on a new form. No longer was it the fiery passion of youth, but a warm and steady presence, a daily choice to stay, to love, to care. It was as if their bond had evolved into a sacred responsibility, a silent understanding between two souls who had promised to weather life's joys and sorrows together. In his eyes, she was as beautiful as the day they met, if not more so. To him, her fading memory was not a burden, but an opportunity to love her even more fully, even more deeply. As he played the piano, he found solace in his role, finding joy in each small connection that emerged, even if only for a fleeting moment. As we grow older, love transforms from the promises of youth into something far richer and more enduring. There is a saying that young people live for love, but as we age, we live for gratitude. In the twilight of life, when health begins to wane and the days grow quieter, it is the presence of a spouse that brings a warmth like no other. It's the comfort of knowing that there is someone who understands you completely, and who has walked alongside you through every trial and triumph. A spouse, in this stage of life, becomes more than just a partner. They become a mirror of your journey, a constant reminder of the memories you've built together, and a source of quiet strength. But as significant as a spouse's companionship is, there is also the undeniable role of children in the lives of aging parents. Children are the greatest blessing life can bestow, a wellspring of joy and pride. They represent the future, a legacy that carries forth all that we have taught them. In later years, they often become the light that warms our hearts, the source of comfort in times of solitude. However, as we move into the sunset of our lives, it is essential to remember that while children add immeasurable value to our lives, they are not the foundation upon which our happiness should rest. In today's world, there is often an expectation that children will be the support system for their aging parents. Yet, in reality, each person must walk their path, and children, no matter how deep their love, must eventually carve out lives of their own. They carry their dreams, their struggles, and their responsibilities. Our role as parents is to nurture them, to guide them, and to help them grow into capable and independent individuals. But to rely on them entirely, to place the full weight of our happiness upon them, is not only unfair, it risks disrupting the delicate balance of family relationships. Expecting too much from our children, especially as we grow older, can place an undue burden on them. It is a pressure that can lead to tension and misunderstandings, eroding the joy that family bonds are meant to bring. By clinging too tightly, we risk not only straining our relationships but also losing a sense of self-reliance and freedom that we have spent a lifetime cultivating. Independence is a precious gift, one that should not be relinquished, even in the face of aging. Renowned psychologist Sylvia once said that the love parents hold for their children is pure and unconditional, a love that expects nothing in return. This profound truth highlights the selflessness that defines parental love. However, as parents, we often find ourselves hoping, perhaps even expecting, that our children will reciprocate this love through care and support in our later years. Yet, true love means setting them free, encouraging them to lead lives filled with their own purpose, unburdened by the weight of our expectations. The most important gift we can give our children is the knowledge that they are strong and capable of living independent, fulfilling lives. As we age, we must learn to cultivate our happiness, to seek fulfillment within ourselves rather than in the actions of others. This independence is not only a gift to ourselves but also our children, allowing them to flourish without feeling constrained by our needs. In doing so, we give them the space to love us freely, without the pressures that can come from unspoken expectations. In the end, life is a delicate balance between love and freedom, between companionship and independence. For the husband in our story, his love for his wife is a testament to the power of being present, of finding joy in the simplest of actions, and of standing by a loved one with quiet, unwavering strength. For all of us, the story is a reminder that true love, whether between partners, parents, or children, is a commitment to each other's happiness and well-being, even when it means letting go. As we grow older, may we all find peace in the love we share, in the lives we've touched, and in the quiet independence that allows us to live with dignity and grace. As parents, our lives often become entwined with those of our children. From the moment they enter the world, they are our world, our joy, our purpose, and often our greatest motivation. We pour ourselves into their lives, supporting, nurturing, and protecting them in ways that sometimes even surprise us. However, as they grow and become independent, many parents fall into a pattern of relying too heavily on their children, allowing their emotions, their sense of purpose, and even their happiness to revolve around them entirely. This deep dependency, though natural, can lead to a profound and painful void when the inevitable moment arrives that our children need to step away, to carve out lives of their own. The sense of loss and isolation can be overwhelming, often giving way to feelings of resentment when our children can no longer fulfill the role we once imagined they would. It is vital to realize that while children undoubtedly bring immeasurable joy, our lives should not rest solely on their presence. When we allow our happiness and sense of self to depend entirely on our children, we risk losing the independence and richness that make life meaningful in its own right. Building a fulfilling, self-sustained life is essential. We must rediscover hobbies, friendships, and passions that make us feel whole and content within ourselves. This self-reliance does not take away from the love we have for our children, but, instead, enhances it, transforming every encounter into a cherished moment rather than one marred by unspoken longing or expectation. In doing so, we create an atmosphere where each reunion with our children is filled with mutual happiness, an event to be celebrated rather than an emotional lifeline. It's a beautiful yet challenging realization. While our children are a significant and irreplaceable part of our lives, they cannot and should not be everything. When we allow our love for them to be a source of motivation and joy rather than a heavy burden of dependency, we build a bond that is not strained by hidden pressures or emotional weight. This love, free of conditions, fosters a relationship of respect and joy, where each visit or conversation with our children becomes a joyous occasion, a chance to connect and celebrate, free from the pressure of unfulfilled expectations. In the twilight years of life, as we transition into a new chapter, it's important to recognize that while our children are an integral part of our support system, they are not our only source of strength. The three pillars of support we can lean on in our golden years are ourselves, our spouse or partner, and our children. Each of these relationships plays a distinct role, adding a unique layer of depth and resilience to our lives. However, it is essential not to rely too heavily on any one relationship, for each carries its balance and boundaries. When we nurture self-confidence, foster a meaningful and supportive relationship with our spouse, and embrace a loving, healthy relationship with our children, free of excessive expectations, we find a profound sense of peace and fulfillment in our later years. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, Please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Indeed, aging is not the end, but rather the beginning of a new, fulfilling chapter. By learning to take care of ourselves, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, we empower ourselves to live with a sense of joy and purpose that is unburdened by dependency. This self-care is not a luxury but a necessity. It gives us the strength to approach life's final chapter with grace, embracing each moment with love and acceptance. When we build our happiness from within, life's inevitable challenges feel lighter, and our relationships with others become more harmonious. We learn to live with a sense of calm and resilience that permeates every interaction, every moment. As parents, our deepest wish is often to be loved, respected, and cherished by our children. We hope they will recognize the sacrifices we made, the endless love we poured into them, and the times we put their needs above our own. Yet, life does not always grant us the fulfillment of these hopes. Some parents face the heartbreaking reality of feeling isolated, disrespected, or even ignored by the very children they raised with unwavering devotion. This painful estrangement does not always stem from a lack of love or empathy on the children's part, but often from the dynamics and patterns established over years of interaction. Sometimes, we unknowingly place undue expectations or heavy burdens on our children, creating a rift that grows as they become adults. There's a timeless truth in the saying, "You reap what you sow," and nowhere is this wisdom more evident than in the family. The love, kindness, and respect we sow in our children's hearts are often reflected in us in later years. If we raise them with compassion, understanding, and fairness, they are more likely to honor and cherish us in return. However, if our relationship with them is characterized by control, judgment, or an absence of empathy, children often distance themselves, not out of rebellion but as a form of self-preservation. They seek a life where they feel valued, respected, and free from the weight of unspoken obligations. Today, let us reflect on the patterns of behavior that can cause children to feel alienated or resentful toward their parents. In exploring these dynamics, we gain valuable insights into how we can nurture relationships that are lasting and fulfilling. When we parent with empathy, respect, and self-awareness, we foster a bond with our children that stands the test of time. Conversely, when we allow negative behaviors to creep into our relationships, be it through harshness, unrealistic expectations, or a lack of understanding, we unknowingly build barriers that can ultimately separate us. In many ways, the lessons we learn through parenthood are among life's most profound. They challenge us to examine our own beliefs, set aside our desires for control, and embrace a love that is selfless, patient, and resilient. By understanding the impact of our actions on our children's lives, we give ourselves the gift of a legacy built on respect and admiration, one that fills our hearts with pride in the later years. Our final years are an opportunity, a time to celebrate the lives we've built, the relationships we've nurtured, and the lessons we've learned. Old age should not be a time of regret or unfulfilled dreams, but a period of reflection, joy, and connection. When we build a life of happiness, independent of our children's presence or approval, we give them the freedom to live authentically, and we allow ourselves to live fully. This mutual freedom is the essence of love. It's the foundation of a legacy that both parent and child can cherish. In every step of this journey, we have the choice to live a life filled with meaning, connection, and purpose. As we embrace our final chapter, let us do so with open hearts, ready to receive the love and respect we've earned, not demanded. In doing so, we not only leave a legacy of love but also create a space where every reunion with our children is filled with warmth, respect, and true happiness, a gift that only grows richer with time. Aid parents who use violence and harsh words. One of the most devastating mistakes some parents make is turning to violence and harsh words in moments of discipline, mistakenly believing that such measures can teach respect or instill obedience. Yet, each time a parent raises a hand in anger or lets sharp words escape their lips, they are doing far more than inflicting immediate pain. They are creating wounds that run deep within a child's heart and mind. These acts leave behind invisible scars, etching themselves into the child's sense of self-worth, security, and trust. A child, in their innocence and vulnerability, cannot comprehend the stresses and challenges their parents may face. All they know is the sharp sting of punishment, the crushing weight of fear, and the gradual loss of trust and admiration for those they once believed would protect them unconditionally. In many cases, parents unknowingly transfer their burdens from the outside world, the pressures of work, the struggles of financial survival, or the disappointments life has dealt with, onto the very people they love most. They carry these frustrations home, and in a vulnerable moment, they find themselves lashing out at their children, venting emotions onto tender hearts ill-equipped to defend themselves. What might seem like a fleeting moment of anger for a parent becomes a haunting memory for a child, one that they carry long after the moment has passed. Children, unable to resist or question the authority of their parents, are left to endure in silence, often internalizing the hurt and confusion. While they may, at first, feel only fear and submission, these emotions can evolve, turning into deep-seated resentment, bitterness, and eventually, a profound yearning to escape the home they once considered safe. Consequences. What are the long-term consequences for children who grow up in such an environment? For some, the emotional scars are so profound that they seek to escape as soon as they are able, yearning for freedom from the memories of pain and trauma. If they stay, they may do so out of obligation or fear, but in their minds and hearts, they have already distanced themselves from those who should have been their first source of comfort and love. For these individuals, parents come to represent only sorrow, suffering, and unresolved wounds. The relationship becomes strained, with emotions simmering beneath the surface, unexpressed but undeniably present. And when the time comes that they can leave, many of these grown children do so without looking back. They no longer feel an inclination to return home for visits, nor do they carry a desire to nurture their parents in their later years. To them, distance is not just a physical separation, it is a necessary step toward peace and healing. Living away from their parents becomes a means of self-preservation, a way to protect the parts of themselves that were once vulnerable to harm. For these children, moving away is not an act of rebellion or resentment alone, but rather a form of liberation from a past that offered more pain than love. As parents reflect on these consequences, it's crucial to realize that cycles of violence and harsh words can never foster the kind of respect and loyalty they may hope for. Discipline that relies on fear breeds only resentment, distancing children emotionally from the very people who raised them. True respect does not stem from force. It is nurtured through understanding, patience, and consistent, loving guidance. In moments of anger, parents must remind themselves that there are gentler, more effective ways to instill values, ways that do not diminish their child's spirit. When parents choose love, compassion, and positive reinforcement over punishment, they are investing in a future bond that will stand the test of time. A child raised in a household where mistakes are met with patience rather than punishment, where guidance is given with empathy rather than anger, grows to respect their parents on a deeper, more lasting level. These children do not need to escape. They are drawn back by the love and trust they were given, eager to support their parents in return. The emotional relationships parents cultivate today with their children are the legacy they leave behind. Every act of kindness, every moment of patience, and every word of encouragement sows seeds that will grow into loyalty, compassion, and love. In choosing a path of understanding, parents ensure that they will be surrounded by caring, respectful children who genuinely wish to be part of their lives, even as they grow older. As parents, let us remember that our children's hearts are tender and impressionable, shaped by each interaction and memory we create. The legacy of love we leave them with will determine how they view not only us but also the world around them. When we choose compassion over criticism and gentleness over judgment, we are giving them a foundation of emotional security that they will carry into all their future relationships. Ultimately, the kindness, patience, and warmth we give today will come back to us tenfold in the love and respect of our children when we need it most. Be parents who treat children unfairly. One of the deepest, most painful betrayals a child can experience is to feel less loved by their parents. The sting of favoritism, the feeling that a sibling is cherished, admired, or valued more, is a silent wound, invisible to others but excruciatingly real to the child who feels it. This is not merely a fleeting childhood sadness. It is a weight, an ache in the heart that can linger for years, shaping the way the child sees themselves, their family, and even the world. When parents treat one child as the golden child, while another is relegated to the background, it creates an emotional divide that can be almost impossible to mend. In some families, this dynamic is subtle, creeping in slowly, hidden beneath layers of small actions, words, and gestures. For others, favoritism is blatant, where sons or daughters are prized over one another based on traditional values or arbitrary preferences. Particularly in households where cultural or societal norms place a higher value on sons, boys may be the recipients of privileges and attention that girls are denied. A son might be encouraged to pursue his dreams, to receive higher education, or to simply enjoy life's best offerings, while a daughter may be advised to focus on household tasks, receive hand-me-downs, or be told her future lies in marriage rather than personal achievement. Imagine the heartbreak of a young girl, filled with potential and dreams, being told she's limited simply because she is female. The phrase "girls will marry and not achieve anything" may seem old-fashioned, but its echoes remain in many cultures, creating resentment and a profound sense of inadequacy for daughters who wish only to feel equal. This unfair treatment isn't limited to gender alone. For many families, favoritism centers around perceived achievements or traits that are socially valued. A child who excels in school, who wins awards, or who has a naturally charming disposition may be the one who basks in the parents' admiration and pride. The less naturally talented or conventionally attractive siblings may not receive the same warmth, encouragement, or love. The siblings who struggle academically, have physical or learning challenges, or simply aren't what their parents envisioned may find themselves overlooked. They are the silent children, those who sit in the background, quietly absorbing the knowledge that no matter how hard they try, they can never earn the same love or respect. They wonder what they did to deserve this lack of attention, feeling abandoned within their own family. These feelings can develop into a deep-seated sorrow, a wound that they carry well into adulthood. In some families, parents may justify this favoritism, telling themselves that they are only encouraging the successful child or investing in the child with greater potential. But what they fail to see is the irreparable damage this creates within the family. These overlooked children, who may have once yearned for their parents' approval, begin to withdraw emotionally. They build walls to protect themselves from further hurt, and as they grow older, those walls solidify into a distance that becomes harder and harder to bridge. The warm affection that should flow naturally between parent and child becomes tinged with coldness, even resentment. And when these neglected children eventually reach adulthood, their memories of childhood are often tainted with pain and bitterness. They may no longer feel the urge to stay close, to call frequently, or to care for parents who ignored them in favor of another sibling. When the time comes for these parents to seek support in their later years, they may find themselves faced with children who, while dutiful, feel no warmth or closeness. These once neglected children may fulfill obligations out of duty, but they lack the loving motivation to go above and beyond. Parents who fail to recognize their role in creating this emotional divide often wonder why they are met with indifference from their grown children. They may not understand that it is the result of years of favoritism, of countless moments when they failed to acknowledge the pain they were inflicting on one child for the sake of another. It's not only the neglected children who suffer. The so-called favored child bears their burden. They are often weighed down by the expectations and pressures placed upon them by parents who see them as their pride and joy. They may feel the strain of having to maintain an image, of never being allowed to fail, lest they fall from favor. In some cases, they may even feel guilty for the love and admiration they receive at the expense of their siblings, causing internal conflict and guilt that they, too, carry into adulthood. The family unit becomes fractured from all sides, with each member bearing a different, but equally painful, scar. Favoritism affects more than just the immediate family dynamic. It can reverberate through generations, setting the stage for fractured sibling relationships that extend far beyond childhood. Siblings raised with favoritism often carry resentment toward one another, unable to bond fully because of the rivalry fostered by their parents' behavior. The golden child may resent the bitterness of their overlooked sibling, and the overlooked sibling may carry a quiet, simmering anger that taints their every interaction. As these siblings grow older, their strained relationships often mean that their children, cousins who might otherwise be close, are raised at a distance. Thus, the painful legacy of favoritism lives on, echoing through the lives of those who weren't even born when it began. For parents, it is essential to understand the immense power they wield in shaping their children's hearts. Every child, regardless of gender, abilities, or personality, is a unique and precious individual deserving of equal love, care, and attention. Small, seemingly inconsequential acts of favoritism may seem harmless at the moment, but they can cause a lifetime of heartache and division. A parent must make each child feel valued for who they are, unconditionally, without comparison. When children grow up knowing they are loved equally, they develop a strong sense of self-worth, loyalty, and affection that they will carry into adulthood. They will not only feel a deep bond with their parents but also with each other, forging a united family that stands strong across generations. By fostering love, respect, and fairness within the family, parents create an environment where each child feels valued, no matter their strengths or weaknesses. These children grow up with a profound sense of security, confidence, and a willingness to care for one another and their parents in times of need. Such a family is not only bound by blood but by an unbreakable bond of love and fairness, a family where loyalty runs deep, and where every member is willing to stand by each other's side through life's challenges. This is the legacy that every parent should strive to leave, one where love is given freely and without reservation, allowing each child to blossom in the warmth of a family that truly values them for who they are. See parents who live without exemplarity. Many parents overlook the profound influence their behavior has on their children. Parenting isn't just about providing for physical needs. It's about embodying values that children absorb and emulate. When parents fail to live with integrity, neglecting morals and ethical standards, it creates a fracture in the foundation of respect and admiration that their children would naturally feel for them. In the seemingly small acts of daily life, the values parents demonstrate leave an indelible impression on their children. If a parent frequently engages in deceit, mistreatment, or disrespect, whether toward others or even their own children, these actions subtly teach their children to view such behavior as acceptable. The child might grow up thinking that dishonesty, hostility, and selfishness are normal parts of human interaction. Imagine a child who regularly witnesses their parents speak ill of others, engage in bitter disputes over family property, or deceive friends and acquaintances. With every such act, the child's respect for their parent quietly diminishes. Over time, seeing their parents resort to disrespectful words or selfish actions in family conflicts erodes the sense of security, love, and trust the child once felt. Instead, they come to see their parents as flawed in ways that feel deeply disappointing and may even feel reluctant to look up to them. This impact becomes especially damaging when parents lead lives dominated by deceit and greed. Children, keenly aware of such tendencies, often begin to emotionally distance themselves, feeling an unspoken shame or resentment. They may come to view their parents as people who cannot be admired, and who lack the qualities they desire in the people closest to them. As they mature, these feelings can deepen into a struggle to maintain even basic respect or affection for their parents, often leading them to seek emotional or physical distance. For parents, it is crucial to understand the power of their actions as lifelong examples. Living with honesty, kindness, and integrity does more than fulfill a parental duty. It builds a legacy of values that children carry forward. While no parent is perfect, striving to embody virtues like compassion, patience, and fairness can leave children with a profound sense of admiration and respect. Small, daily actions that reflect honesty and empathy become monumental life lessons, showing children the importance of ethical behavior and authentic love. In turn, this nurtures children to not only cherish their parents in their elder years but to carry forward a legacy of goodness and respect in their own lives, cultivating relationships rooted in honor and love. Greedy and selfish parents. Some parents, instead of selflessly prioritizing the well-being and future of their children, fall prey to their own desires and selfish needs. This type of behavior doesn't just erode family bonds. It shatters the respect and love that children naturally have for their parents. When parents place personal gain above family unity, the trust between parent and child is irreparably fractured, leaving wounds that are hard to heal. For instance, some parents, driven by an insatiable thirst for wealth or status, may even engage in dishonest or illegal activities, resorting to fraud, manipulation, or exploitation to fuel their ambitions. Children, regardless of age, perceive these actions and are deeply affected by them. Watching their parents compromise morals and disregard consequences for selfish gain creates a sense of shame and disappointment in their hearts. Integrity and honesty are pillars of respect, and when parents lose these essential values, children no longer see them as role models. Instead, they feel a deep sense of betrayal. What once was admiration becomes disillusionment, and the bond weakens. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Furthermore, selfishness in parents can appear in more subtle, yet equally damaging ways. Some parents, obsessed with their desires, neglect their children's emotional and physical needs. They may squander family resources on frivolous personal indulgences, disregarding the impact on their children's education, well-being, or future security. In such an environment, children feel not only neglected but also deeply unvalued. They grow up in a home where their dreams and feelings are secondary to their parents' temporary pleasures, leading to feelings of abandonment and emotional estrangement. As they mature, these children carry scars from feeling invisible, and they slowly drift further from their parents, both emotionally and physically. In extreme cases, the destructive force of greed can extend beyond the immediate family, causing deep divides among relatives and even sparking bitter fights over inheritance or family assets. Parents may manipulate siblings, exploit family connections, or unfairly cut out relatives, prioritizing material gain over family unity. Witnessing this behavior can deeply hurt children, instilling a sense of bitterness and disapproval. Consequently, when such parents age and find themselves in need, they may be left alone, with children who feel no desire to care for them. Children who have become strangers, distant, and unwilling to shoulder the burden of care for parents who once disregarded their needs. For parents, it's essential to live with empathy, integrity, and thoughtfulness toward their children and family. Greed and selfishness may offer fleeting satisfaction, but they ultimately pave a path to loneliness and regret. Those parents who embrace honesty, fairness, and love cultivate deep-rooted bonds, earning the lifelong respect, devotion, and affection of their children. It's through small acts of kindness, sacrifice, and integrity that parents lay the foundation for a meaningful relationship, securing their children's love and care in the years to come. This is not only a testament to the power of good parenting but also a legacy that enriches the lives of all involved, ensuring that family remains a source of support and love across generations. As we wrap up this deep exploration into the impact of greed and selfishness on family relationships, I invite you to reflect on the insights we've discussed today. The choices we make as parents can profoundly shape not just our lives but also the lives of our children and the entire family dynamic. What lessons have resonated with you the most? I encourage you to take a moment and share one thing you've learned today that you plan to incorporate into your life. Your thoughts and experiences are valuable, and they could inspire others on their journeys. If you found value in this video, please leave your comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content that enriches and empowers. Thank you for joining us, and remember, every small change can lead to a brighter future for our families and ourselves.